I be all up in here like, damn son, look at that fine eye by man, damn bong, don't nanny. Know what I'm saying? Hello everyone, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel, and it's time to give some love to dark house music. Dark house, not a genre in the strictest sense, but an approach that many producers have delved into in recent times. I'm not talking about house music that's a little bit dark and primarily funky, groovy and quite easy on the ear. More, I'm going to be discussing tracks that leave a real mark with how dark they are, those with a deathly, haunting feel. This rules out a lot of bass house, which of course is a dark kind of house music, yet for the most part it's more outright savage and nasty than deep set, spooky, alienating, unnerving, etc. The tunes I'm going to mention here do however cover a wide array of house approaches and types of production, whether it's G house, tech house, stuff leaning more towards mid-tempo almost in its speed of delivery. There's a fair number of ways you can translate the dark house feel. Hopefully these are enough to get you into it somewhat. There are a few bright moments in some of these cuts, but fundamentally they're all pretty dark at their core. Just before I get started here, gonna mention that I did do a guide to Dark House a fair while ago, and if you watch this video and want to know more, get an extensive guide on Dark House generally, I would check that out, although I do warn that the quality of that video is far worse. But 10 tunes here, no particular order, and by no means a definitive list, but one that can give you a good insight into another way that house can be delivered. Gonna provide a few points for each on why they work, playlist of all of them in the description. Let's go. And first off, we have the only collaboration on the list, and a really good one at that. A truly organic blend of styles when you take into account how they both sound individually as duos. So we've got 4 producers working together here. It's Shish Kay by A Glory and Potions and Pills. This is proper underground, gritty house music, a nice mix of hollow synths and rounded execution with a subsuming bass that almost feels as if it's frying or sauteing you in its sound. Moreover, delivered with a real punch, a groove to it as well, but unerringly dark, ghost-like, haunting, so well executed, and one of those where the music just matches the whole image it gives off really effectively. A song that lures you into its depths before springing a menacing surprise from which there is no escape. After that, we have the first song that provides little moments of hope in it, but plunges you deep into mechanical, industrial darkness more so, and that's Joe Sandra by Valli Moe. There's a grand feel to this song at various points that kinda gives the impression of something being far bigger than you, which is quite scary. I don't know if you've ever had that dream where something is far bigger than you, to the point where it completely dwarfs you in size and you feel a bit powerless. Yeah, that is what this song, that's the feeling this song gives off. It's a mix of euphoric and eerie to the point where it feels quite unnerving, edge of the seat sort of music with an underlying bite that is so forceful, really does get a hold of you. There is a sprightliness to it, but that makes it surreal and circus-like, and you cannot trust that robot world. That which is provided by the futuristic synth usage and the robot voice sample, very creepy stuff, inviting you in with such a warmth before delivering that killer blow.
All right, you take Joe Mouth, Sandra.
Following on from there, now we have a couple of tunes here that are more outright bangery and dark pretty much from start to finish, next to no lightness at all, and the first one of those here is Pills by Zabo. This tune is super snappy and moody. As it builds, you can hear it, or maybe more feel it, kind of brewing and festering underneath, bubbling at the surface if you will, waiting to pounce. The drops are pretty interesting actually, quite squelchy, saturated, alien-like sounds rattling through your mind and so well cut. And it's got that enchanting musicality once more to lure you into a false sense of security. You feel attacked, but in the best way possible.
I got pills. I got pills. I got pills.
Next up, now I also mentioned that you can have dark house music that kinda verges on mid-tempo because it's a lot slower, more enduring, deep set, imbued in some sort of earthy, down-tempo mixture. And one of those here is Our Shadows by the Frederick. This song is so carefully crafted, simmering, pulsating, it feels like your brain is throbbing repeatedly. The whole idea is delivered expertly. Constantly lingering, looming, kinda hanging over you, the vocal only adds to the tension and sense of helplessness that we get here. It's almost frightening, giving the effect of feeling out of control, paralysed by the hypnotic beat. The emotion of it also makes it quite thrilling, despite its low-key approach. It's a brilliant, brilliant song. Then we have the modern day Dark House King, someone whose tunes could easily fill out this list of 10 and more, the special mentions, whatever, no question. Definitely the absolute don when it comes to this kind of music. It's Drezo with Real. I did want to go with Heaven originally, my favourite song of his, but this song depicts far better and probably the best of any song here what I mean by Dark House. It's the poster track for it. The creep factor of this song is just next level. I mean, everything about it makes it such an uncomfortable experience, but it's simultaneously irresistible. So intricately put together as well to give the impression of a horrible individual going about their business. It's proper fast-paced horror music. The old movie vocal samples, all of the echoing, the brooding synths underneath that make it feel like the ground is imploding somewhat. It all works together so well to create this incredibly hellish cut. Truly fantastic, and for me, his most underrated tune.
Perhaps you'll understand.
After that, we have another with a couple of glimmers of hope and brightness, but which at its core has such a definite dark magnetic pull to it. It's Dustycloud with Bold. The way this song creeps up on you, my word. It seems inspirational at first, but then midway through the first build, completely turns on you. It's kind of like a dark reality smacking you in the face. And the thickness of those drops when each of those notes hit, slightly grainy, reverberating in your mind, and completely takes over you, all-encompassing. Another where the richness of the production is pretty impossible to tear yourself away from, even though it is so evil. It's really hedonistic music, kinda like a guilty pleasure, really has you in its grasp, so powerful.
Find your strength from the sound.
Following on from there, now we have one song here that isn't particularly present or alive in its production, has more of a vacant, distant feel, but it definitely works for it that way, and that song is God by Bloodtone. I don't know if it's intended, but in vital moments the production just doesn't seem fleshed out here, gives it a more alienating, jarring feel, and resultantly and in turn a certain appeal for sure. Pretty straightforward ideas, and the way it's mixed on top of the general atmosphere of it makes for something inspiring feelings of loneliness and sorrow. Again, don't know if that's the intention, but definitely worth checking out. It runs short on flavour, but that's what makes it a compelling tune in its own right.
God?
Next up, ever since I discovered Drezo, I've been looking for something as close to his style as I can, and mile and away the closest I've come is JDG, and the song of his I'm going to talk about here is Jinx. This song is pretty mysterious and alluring, another that tempts you in, but because it's so sweet, the impact of the remorseless, full throttle drops is felt way more. Said drops are fantastic, the bullet-like delivery is so good, each note booming into your stomach and rippling throughout your body, enveloping you. I feel Dark House is at its best when it doesn't try to do too much. Ideas are pretty simple but well produced, and alongside several Drezo songs, this is a perfect example. banger, 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 banger. Penultimately, we have the one song here where I'd say the majority of it is pretty sprightly, jovial, bright, but the drops are so devilish that it just can't not be included here. And that's the Seeden remix of Death House by Rough Math. Super meaty, chunky drops, like biting into something and having all the inside spill out. Jagged stuff provides a really sinister contrast from that as well. It's just so good. In light of that, you could again call the rest of the track surreal and freakish. A dark figure revealing their actual self at the pivotal moment when they strike the drop. And for that 180-degree flip, I love it. It's up there with my favourite remixes ever. So well assembled and delivers all its ideas very effectively. Yeah, absolutely top draw.
You're in the fifth.
And finally, we have another artist who is highly associated with Dark House music, even more so because of the mask and the whole sense of the unknown with him. It's Malaa with Contagious. The one song here that is considerably drawn out, I feel, takes its time to leave an impression. The darkness not massively apparent at first, but over time, it leaves a shadow over you. The title of the song, the subject matter, how it all ties together, the idea of this disease slowly making its way around people to cause damage, seeping in, being horrible. Not big on Malaa generally, but this one strikes me as particularly dark and well done from him, as an overall combination of concept and music. Now, just before I leave you, gonna give a couple of extras that are still quite dark, but not extremely dark, and not on the level of those I've just mentioned. So we have Your Mind by Back to Black, the Dylan Nathaniel remix of Byliner by Malaa, Holly and Dirty Doses with Grit, At Last with Wake Up, Jackknife and Truman with Puff Berry, Sunnybanks with Xerxes, and Thickia with Exacto. They are all in the playlist I mentioned at the beginning of the video in the description box down below. And so there we have it, 10 tracks to get you into Dark House music. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. But what are some other Dark House tunes that you guys enjoy? You know, even if it's bass house, I want to know which other tunes from this style and approach to music you like and are a fan of. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell along the way so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video to the channel. And my social media accounts are linked in the description box down below. Give me a follow. For some other top 5, 10 videos on the channel and the others that I've done on different genres already in this series, the link to those will be right here. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know guys, so be sure, as always, to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace out.